For the year 2020, I'm making a video review for every new movie I watch, whether in theaters or at home, and on November 18th, I watched The Conjuring 2. Welcome to my year in movies. This is talking to myself. London is calling, and hot paranormal investigating team Ed and Lorraine Warren are going to answer. After the church stumbles upon a case that they would like to investigate, but they don't have enough evidence to support, Ed and Lorraine decide to step in to investigate the Hodgson family. After a financially straining divorce has upended the Hodgsons' lives, the family finds themselves tormented by a ghost after 11-year-old Janet brings home a homemade Ouija board. And boy, is that an angry ghost. Was The Conjuring 2 better than The Conjuring? I think so. One of the things that this movie does really well is it builds upon the established lore of the first one. You know, how and why a demon takes possession of a house in particular. How a demon preys on weakness. It latches onto whatever foothold it can get. Things like that. In this film, it is the Hodgson family, and the fact that they are weak due to this divorce that has torn the family apart, that has taken most of their money, that has left them very emotionally vulnerable. The danger the Warrens are in is also bumped up. What was once just psychological fear of what might happen becomes a physical fear of what will happen. And the fact that we have a whole movie's worth of chemistry to draw on, plus the effortless charm of the very pretty Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. We really fear for their safety, and we deeply care about the outcome of, these visions that Lorraine is having, Is Ed in physical danger? Yes, I know when he died in real life, but that doesn't mean I'm not scared for him now in the moment. In many ways, though, the best way to determine if a horror sequel is better is to ask if it was scarier than its predecessor. And for me, boy, oh, was it ever. The film did the utmost with shadows. With the first film, I was like, whatever, I'm going to bed. And then my printer kicked on in the middle of the night and scared me to death. But in this one, they used shadows really well. We would be straining our eyes trying to see what is in the background because we knew it had to be something, but we couldn't tell what it was. So by the time the movie was over, I was sweeping my apartment with a flashlight, trying to make sure that there were no ghosts in this space. Because the Hodgson home is a lot smaller than the home from the first movie. If it was a newer built home as well, the home was probably only 30 years old at the oldest, because it was probably like a post-World War II built home. And it was a lot smaller, so I was like, maybe my apartment is in danger. And that's a good thing. You want that kind of lingering fear if you're a horror film. And as a result, too, in the film, it felt like there were a lot fewer places to hide, both for the family and for the ghost. And that kind of forced confrontation a lot more often. And speaking of confrontation, I appreciate that this ghost was not messing around. We weren't doing the kitty slamming doors nonsense. No, we were throwing full bed frames, full cabinets of dishes, serious ghost business. I also appreciate how this film played around with focus. There was a scene where Ed is interviewing Janet, and the camera gradually pulls away from her and distorts her until it almost looks like the ghost, but it's still fuzzy and out of focus, so we can't tell. But we were on the back of our couch. It was frightening, and it was really well done. I also really like the way the film presents hands wrapping around door frames. Sometimes it's a ghost, sometimes it's a regular person. Every time it's creepy. The possession also felt a lot scarier this time. Maybe it was because Janet was a child and not a grown adult like Carolyn was in the first movie. Or, the fact that while Carolyn was physically pulled around a couple times, it was like she was just slid across a floor, pulled down some stairs, not thrown around a bedroom, not pulled through the floor, not teleporting around the house. Things like that are scary, and it was frightening, and I felt a lot more afraid for Janet's safety than I did for Carolyn. And maybe it's just because Carolyn's possession happened more towards the end of the film and it wasn't a growing concern the entire time. Her voice, for the most part, still sounded like a grown adult woman, not, a creepy old man. So it was really freaky for me in that regard. The biggest 50-50 of 50% of the time it worked, 50% of the time it didn't, was the Crooked Man, which was another demon/ghost that was tormenting this family. And Javier Botet did an absolutely exquisite job with the physicality of the character, but anytime the Crooked Man was seen in full light, it kind of took away from it, which is unfortunate. Basically, it was only the close-ups that took me out of the moment because he would look really fake up close, almost like Slender Man in the old movie. It does a disservice to Javier's performance. But that being said, seeing the family dog break in half and turn into a spindly demon, A+, top tier. So scary. All in all, I had a great time watching this one. I think when it comes to paranormal films, and I think that's the way it is with most of them, I like it more when it's coming at the angle of a skeptic, of trying to prove what is really happening. And I think that's kind of a genre I would like to explore a little bit more. You know, is there really a ghost here? Is there really a demon here? What are we working with? And I was so stoked to find out that there was a third installment of this film, but it was pushed back to next year. So I'm a little bummed that I can't watch it this year. But this means I can watch the spin-offs of varying quality. This has been My Year in Movies. Thank you for watching.